Opioids have had Opioids have had a big impact on our world. Entire wars have been fought over opium. People have been using opium for both pain and recreational purposes for a very, very long time. So how did we get here? The year is 2020, and while the opiate crisis is not at its peak, but we are still suffering from its consequences. To better understand how we got here, I think we should learn about the history of opium and opiates, where it came from, how it's made, how it works, and most importantly, why now, more than ever, people are sticking the needle in their arm. All opiates start from the same place, the poppy plant. It contains opium, which is what relieves pain and gives you that euphoric effect. What a lot of people don't know is that the use of opium was very accepted in the past. Cultivating poppies was looked at as an art, and those who perfected it were highly respected. It's hard to find a country that did not partake in the use of opium, except for a few countries that did not believe in using or trading Western goods. What's most important to take note here is that the British really fucked over China and got the whole country hooked on opium. They ended up getting in the first Opium War, the British defeated China and took Hong Kong. Some random guy also learned how to make morphine from opium, and consequently, this would eventually lead to heroin. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we dive into the cash grab that is heroin, I think it's best we take a cold, hard look at prescription pills. Prescription pills are an expensive can of worms you don't want to open. To put it simply, real prescription pills are very expensive to buy off the street. It is usually $1 per 1 milligram, depending on what pill you're buying. So a 30 milligram pill of oxycodone would be $30. That starts draining your pockets real fast. Big Pharma is the one that is mainly held accountable for the opiate crisis. With the start of mass prescribing oxycodone, a very powerful painkiller that is instantly released the second you take it. This is combined with the fact that the doctors who partnered with these companies who made painkillers would get a good cut of money when they prescribed their pills to their patients. This is important because doctors would usually prescribe more than necessary to patients. Some doctors also exploited the fact that they could get a lot of money by basically getting their patients hooked on painkillers by refilling their prescriptions whenever they came back always wanting more pills. This is called pill milling, and it's fucking disgusting. A lot of these doctors got arrested under drug trafficking charges because of the way they were prescribing controlled substances, as well as the opiate epidemic being brought to light by the media. As time went on, more and more doctors were not very keen on prescribing painkillers. With the bank emptying prices that real pain pills were going for in the streets, painkiller addicts turned to the much cheaper alternative, which was heroin. Heroin is very scary because once you are hooked, it is much harder to quit compared to pills. There is a term called chasing the dragon. Once you experience your first shot of heroin, you will always want to chase that dragon. This basically means once you shoot up, you're going to want nothing but that high. You don't get addicted to heroin the first time you try it, but life will seem dull without it. Most that shoot up once will come crawling right back to their dealers. In this clip with a heroin user, he is asked if he could have three wishes, what would they be? Look at his response.
You're
Are
ready for
horrible,
some new
man.
socks. So,
Yep. But
if you had three wishes, what would they be?
let's see. I'd probably wish that I could take some type of pill that would make me never remember what opiates feel like. And then
He says, I wish I could take a pill that would make me forget what any opiate felt like. What I feel like is not looked at enough today is mental addiction. Yes, heroin's physical addiction is very bad, but here's the thing. Once you are able to quit heroin every single day, you will think about it. This goes for most hard drugs such as amphetamines, specifically meth, and stimulants such. I think it's time to mention the elephant in everyone's heroin bags and pills, fentanyl. You have your good old buddy El Chapo to thank for this one. You see, he had the bright idea to start mixing his opiate-related drugs with fentanyl. The reason being is because fentanyl is much stronger than heroin, along with the fact it's cheap to produce. It is a gold mine in the eyes of drug dealers and drug lords alike. People have also fallen victim to fentanyl overdoses because they have been sold fake prescription pills that are really just fentanyl made from pill presses, which anyone can buy right off of Amazon. After hearing all this, I bet you want to know how these goods are made. Well, it all starts from the poppy plant as mentioned earlier. When the poppy plant forms a bulb, as seen here, you are able to cut the sides of it. This releases a sap that is left to dry. After that, the dried goo is collected and may be dried more depending on where it is harvested. You are left with some black paste or light orange looking powder. This is now raw opium. It contains morphine and codeine in it. What you can do next is extract the morphine through a somewhat challenging process, which I'm too lazy to do the research on how exactly it is done. Then, from that morphine, you can make heroin by treating it with chemicals and other procedures. Most people will start off by snorting heroin and then go to injecting. This is because the needle obviously scares us rather than just doing a line. It is also more effective when absorbed through the bloodstream compared to the nasal cavity. Congrats, now you have the rundown on why everyone is going cuckoo for opiates. Oh, and by the way, perk 30s don't exist. Perks are just Tylenol and Oxy in one pill.